All right, so we're live. Welcome to J&J Connection. You got Jay and Jody. Jody's actually in Seattle right now. What are you doing out there in Seattle, Jody?
I am here on business, trying to procure or secure a lot or a parcel for purchase so I can build my shipping container home. That's why I'm here. Business mixed in
Um,
mixed in with a little bit of pleasure, maybe. I don't
I
know.
mean, that sounds like all pleasure to me, but
No, that's not
my
pleasure. That's business.
definition of business and pleasure might be different than yours. But I've been looking at the shipping container homes, and since been becoming a lot more popular, um, a lot of companies are starting to build not necessarily shipping container homes, but these sort of prefab houses
Prefab
that
houses, yeah, or modular. They're
yeah
modular.
that are
Yeah,
small, but it's like the small house.
right, right.
And so, are you set on shipping container? I mean, now that the market is becoming more competitive.
Yeah, I'm set on shipping container. I actually have a builder uh, that I'm working with. So um, uh, it started out with the same builder called SG Blocks, um, and they were actually allowing us to customize our homes. But what they did as of late is they rolled out their own designs. Um, and with those designs, they provide a starting price just based on the square footage, et cetera, et cetera. So I decided to go that way instead of instead of customizing it on my own because first of all, it's easier. And then it's less expensive because my taste is expensive. So for me to customize my own home, it would have been like living in a brick and mortar, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what I'm trying to keep down cost. Um, so yeah, as I
What
say,
are the costs? What are the costs?
so right now it ranges anywhere from 87,000 for I think it was for 681 square feet. And
How much is
everything is
that? Hold on.
ev-
How much you say?
uh what uh, so 681 square feet.
Okay,
Yeah, it's about 87,000.
so 100 grand
So
for.
I think they're doing $130 per square feet. I think that's how they're doing it. So 87,000, that includes everything. That includes your design. Um, it includes
But you know
everything, all
what?
your specs.
What are you saving though?
Well, if I were to do it, if I actually customized my own home based on my design that I had already presented to them, it would have been way more than that. Way
But do you
more.
have to? But I mean, I'm just saying. Are you suggesting that there's no house built that would meet your standard? I mean, $130 per square foot is not cheap, right? That's
No,
that's pricey.
right.
Um, so I'm just wondering, it just seems like whoever you're working with, and maybe that's the market right now, to where they're trying to take advantage because I mean there are homes you can buy that are less per square foot than what
But
they cost.
it's not a shipping container. The whole purpose of a shipping
Of
container,
course.
you're paying for the steel. You're paying for the longevity, you're paying for the durability. You're paying for the fact that it can withstand, hurricanes and tornadoes and, earthquakes.
Jody, you're in Seattle.
What?
You're in
I'm just
Seattle.
right. And we get earthquakes.
Okay, I'm just saying. You said hurricanes,
I'm just
tornadoes.
saying, and I said earthquakes, and we do get earthquakes. But
Okay.
just say that everything doesn't go well here with me securing a lot, and I end up
And
back and
to be
forth.
fair, though, to be fair, it's not that they withstand
No,
earthquakes.
they do, they do, they do.
That
It depends.
the structure of
It
the
depends. Hold
house,
on, babe,
yeah, the structure.
sweetheart. It depends on how you anchor everything has to do with how you anchor that
Mhm.
home.
Right, right,
Everything.
right. You're talking about the infrastructure of the
Right,
home,
right.
right? But not the interior. So I'm just making that distinction that the infrastructure may withstand
Yes.
uh
Well,
you know,
that's what yeah,
earthquake,
right.
but not the interior.
Well, it would have to well, again, it would have to penetrate it would still have to penetrate, right? It had to
No, I mean,
penetrate
so
from the
if you
outside
have
to the inside, it have to penetrate. In order to affect the inside, it would have to penetrate the inside, right?
no
But
no
it
no
would be a little difficult for it to penetrate the outside. That's
what I'm
what I'm
saying
saying.
is you can have an earthquake and you can have paintings on the wall, you can have a granite countertop, you can have uh you know, tile flooring, and while the structure itself, the steel container, may
Mhm.
be, you know, uh, whoops, may be, you know, unimpacted,
Mhm.
the insides of the home. And I mean, because I don't want to give people a false sense of security that, oh yeah, it withstands earthquake, tsunami, all this stuff. Like, at the end of the day, it's a steel container,
Mhm.
and this, you know, it's not like it's a wood structure. So it you know, it reacts differently to an earthquake than a typical house,
Mhm.
because a typical house is either, you know, has a wood frame,
Right.
uh, and has
Or concrete. It can have a concrete frame.
right. It can have a
Mhm.
concrete,
Mhm.
or brick, what have
Mhm.
you. And so that's where the difference is in what you're saying. But from the interior side, there's still, you know, the risk that your granite countertops could crack. If you
Yeah,
have,
and the
you know,
paintings on the
tile
wall.
flooring, you know,
Mhm.
it could crack. You know,
Possibility.
right. Yeah,
Possibility.
I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible, um, with, you know, everything that's involved, because people may not even have, you know, the you know, any inkling as to what is a container home is. And so then you
Right.
throw out this whole, oh well, you know, it withstands earthquakes, you know, what else did you say, earthquakes, tornadoes,
Earthquakes,
and
tornadoes, hurricanes, definitely
hurricanes. Yeah,
hurricanes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm just
Well,
trying to be as you know, transparent. That's all.
well, let me just say this. What I will say, unequivocally, is that it does cut costs by 33 to 40% versus building a brick and mortar, and that's just fact. Whoever, if that's something that the audience wants to look up, they can, and they will see that it does cut costs by 33 to 40% versus a brick and mortar versus building a brick and mortar. Plus, again, it's more durable than a brick and mortar.
Interesting that they say 30 to 40%, because um I wonder if they're basing, I mean, because at the end of the day, um the interior, right, of the container home still has to have drywall. You still
Yeah, it has to
gotta,
have drywall,
you know,
plumbing,
yeah, it
HVAC.
still has all that stuff.
Mhm.
So what they're saying is basically on the exterior of the home, is where you're
No,
saving.
your plumbing, yeah, but your plumbing is, you can save on plumbing and HVAC. I mean, some people, they get the,
Right. I can see the HVAC
yeah,
because
the HVAC.
it's totally enclosed. I mean, it's
Right,
totally
right,
enclosed versus, yeah.
yeah.
You know, well, and again, it all depends on how many doors, and windows, because if you have,
But that's where you're driving your costs, Jay, is when you start putting in, and that's what I'm saying. What I wanted, was the ceiling to floor windows, wraparound windows. And so when you start talking about, ceiling to floor windows, and you want your windows wrapped around the house, that's when you start getting into the cost. That's when it starts getting expensive,
yeah,
very expensive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so one of the reasons why, because there's always a reason why, at least with me, um, I'm kind of going into detail here, is today's episode, um, and we've kind of been talking now for almost 10 minutes, but today's episode is on communication. Communication is key. And so we've, other, previous episodes, if you've been watching and been following, we've kind of suggested that communication is very key. Men and women speak differently, as in general, and then men and women communicate differently, in general. Um, and so today's episode, we wanted to really talk, kind of hone in on communication. That's kind of why I took the long road to this introduction that I did with Jodie, is because I was trying to get her to see, to also to show you guys where we as men differ, because again, we're Mr. Fix It in our mind, and we always think like, well, what if this, what if that? So if there's a conclusive statement made, then in our mind, we're automatically going to say, hey, does that conclusive statement make sense? Do I agree with it or do I not? And why? That's just how men and women think, right? Um, and if you followed the last episode that we had where, Jodie felt like it was pertinent for me to communicate that I was going to see a friend of mine when we first met in New Orleans. She felt like that was pertinent information. I felt like that was not pertinent information. That was not information that she should know, because it had nothing to do with our our situation at the time. Um, but again, how you communicate that is, because if I would have probably communicated it a little differently to Jodie when we had that situation, because what I did is I responded to her question and her actions, and I was just like, hey, look, this had nothing to do with you, whatever, blah blah blah. But if I would have said, listen, I met you, I had to, I had a prior, engagement, that our commitment prior to meeting you that was scheduled months out. And I wish that I would have met you sooner so that I wouldn't have scheduled that, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. That probably would have went over better, I'm guessing,
Correct.
than my initial response, which was, Jodie, why you tripping?
Right.
There's something there of it, right?
Yeah. Right.
So, in every situation, it's, and this is not just men but women too, like how you ask the question, how you approach the conversation is either going to put him at peace and say, yeah, let's talk about this, or put him in the defense where he's got to defend himself, right?
Right.
And I'm just thinking, Jodie, I can't imagine. I don't think there was any situation where you put me at peace. I think anytime you came at me with a uh, situation, uh, it was, you put me on the defense. Am I wrong about that?
Well, yeah, sort of.
I'm wrong.
Uh,
I'm wrong about
yeah,
that.
in a way, because it wasn't. I think. I think. I think. Uh, I think. I think if you had known the intent of where I was coming from, or the intent of my heart, then you would have known that she's coming at me uh because she cares. So, for instance, you're you like to indulge in alcohol drinking. I'm trying to be politically correct. You like to indulge in alcohol, and you can go a little overboard.
Come on,
And
Jodie.
hold
Really?
on.
Hold
Yeah.
on. Really?
And
Overboard?
so, yeah,
Overboard?
yeah,
Overboard?
and yeah, based on yeah, yeah.
Based on what?
So,
Based on what? Based on what? I have never been drunk around you.
yeah, you have. Yeah, you've been quite inebriated. Yeah.
When? When,
Um,
Jody? When? When? When was this? When did this take place?
well, when you had your friends over, You had your friends come over. They were in town, I think, celebrating either her birthday or his birthday or something like that.
Got it.
And had the
Yeah, they
dinner,
came over. Yep.
and you definitely overindulged.
No,
And I
not at
saw,
all. Not at
yeah, you
all.
did.
Jody, we
And
stayed up till like
we overindulged. Yeah, but I actually, once we got to my house, and I can't believe I actually got in the car with you because you were quite inebriated.
was I
But once I
driving?
got
I
in,
wasn't driving.
you were driving. We went to see. My point right there. You don't even remember. We
Yeah, I mean
drove.
that has nothing to
We
do with whether I
left
was
your
drinking or
house.
not. I
We
mean,
left your house after they left.
yeah.
We got into your red car. You were driving. We went back to my house. I confronted you. I confronted you about your drinking, that you were pouring a little bit too many drinks. That's when you were on the defense. But even prior to that, when we were in the car, I said, look, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah, I mean, it actually makes sense that I would actually go there because I do remember that night and I wound up at your place. So that means I had to drive by
yeah, and
default.
you were driving pretty fast, which means that you were not only inebriated, but you were highly emotional. And so,
Jody, I drive fast anyway. I
when
drive
you
fast
drink,
anyway.
which typically when you drink, you become highly emotional.
Who? Me
Typically,
personally?
that's
Me
typically
personally?
just people in general.
They
Yeah.
become emotional because
They
they
become
drink.
they become they become they yeah, they become a little bit more emotional than usual. Yes.
Emotional is the word.
Because
Emotional.
that's what alcohol is either going to make you divisive, or it's going to make you emotional, because alcohol pretty much it dulls the senses. That's what it does. It makes you react in a way that you typically would not react, and that's just fact. Audience, right.
No,
So
no, Jody, that's not right.
yeah, that is right.
Alcohol.
So
No, no,
you
no.
were in,
People
in
people blame it on the alcohol.
But that's what
even the
alcohol
song.
does.
No, 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 no.
That's what
No.
fermented grape.
Alcohol only. What it does is it
You can't.
reduces. Hold on. Alcohol reduces your inhibitions. It says, hey, you normally wouldn't do this, but you want to do it. So that's what alcohol does. It's like it allows you to reduce those inhibitions you have that are stopping you from doing what you already want to do. That you ask anybody, Jody, you've had drinks before. Don't act like you weren't a drinker.
I was not a
Alcohol
drinker.
has
Well,
never
hold
made
on.
you.
First of all, let's set the record. Let's set the record straight,
Okay.
because don't put it out there that I'm a drinker.
No, no, no. I said you've
I
had
drink
drinks
I
before. I
drink
never said
wine. You said I was a drinker. I drink
it's
wine
a
on
drinker.
occasion.
You drink.
I drink wine. No, you said I'm a drinker. Drinking wine every once in a blue moon does not make you a drinker. You're painting that with a broad brush. You can't do that.
What I'm saying is you have partaken of alcohol. You know what I'm saying? You're
In
not
my
an
lifetime.
alcohol virgin. You're not a virgin to
In my
alcohol.
lifetime, and I know what it does. I
Right,
know what
right.
it does.
All I'm saying is there anything that you've done while drinking alcohol that you would say, or any drug for that matter, that you would say, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for that?
Yes,
It'd be a lie.
absolutely. Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Speak on it. Then.
No,
What would you
because
have done? Exactly.
no,
Exactly.
because some of that is no. There's some things that I definitely, unequivocally would not have done had I not indulged in that
Give an
toxin.
example. Give an
In that
example.
toxin.
Give an example.
Period.
Example. What's an example?
I wouldn't if I wouldn't I would okay, so I'll give you an example that's not too personal. I would have definitely not have gotten on top of a table, a bar table in public, and acted like and started dancing in front of everybody and acted like that's a plum fool right there. That's not even my character. That's not even what I do. I wouldn't have never done that
What age
ever
was this?
in my right mind.
What age was this?
I was 34.
I would.
I
I
knew
didn't know
better.
you at 34. But
I was 34
what I would say is Jody
or
at
33.
34 or 33, whatever, wanted that type. You had seen other women do that before, and you had in your mind been like, "Hey, I wonder what it
No, I
feels
didn't.
like to do that."
No. It was like the alcohol had full control over my senses in my body. No, there is no way I would. There's no way I ever sat up there and watched a woman get on top of a bar table and act like a plum fool and say, dang, I wish, oh man, I want to do that one day. Or, I wish I had the
So
boldness to do
so
that.
what you're saying
Never,
is so
never.
what you're
What I
saying
did was
is
when I saw that
yeah,
initially, I
yeah,
said, she looks real dumb and
yeah,
stupid.
right,
She looked like a plum fool, and
right.
somebody need to take her off that counter
And so what you're saying,
and detox her. That's what I said, and detox her because she looks stupid.
right,
Same thing. I look dumb. I look
right.
dumb. When I when
So
I when I came to,
yeah,
it's like I cannot believe I did that crap,
right. Why did you do it?
and I never did it again because that was dumb. I look
Right,
like a plum
right,
fool.
right. Well, why did you do it in the first place? The alcohol made you do
Your
it?
alcohol, yeah, because alcohol, what it does, it affects your reasoning, and it affects your reasoning, and it affects your sensibility. It does. People know that.
Again, why did you do
It
it?
affects your reasoning. It affects your reasoning, and it affects your sensibility. It does. And
So what you're saying is
it's something that I would never ever do again, ever.
mhm.
That's what alcohol does.
I just find it very interesting that you would do this, whatever, jumping on the table, and it just happened out of the, like, you had never thought about it before.
No, never,
Right, right,
never.
right.
And there were people there with me. And matter
Mhm,
of fact, they tried to, because they were like, matter of fact, after the fact, we had a conversation about it. There was like 3 other people there,
mhm,
and
mhm.
they said, Jodie, what was like? That's not even you. But they knew that based on that alcohol, they knew that had I never indulged in that alcohol, that would have never happened. But based on that alcohol, because
Exactly. I'm not saying it wouldn't
it
happen.
actually took over my sense of reasoning. That is something, Jodie, that is totally out of her character. That's something that she would never do. Never, never, never.
It's funny, um, because alcohol scientifically is a depressant,
It's a
right?
toxin.
It's a depressant.
It's a toxin.
Okay, there's everything in life is a
It's a
toxin.
toxin because you drink, you continue, you drink enough of it, it's going to affect your liver, or I mean your kidneys. So it's a toxin. That's how people come up with cirrhosis of the liver.
Right.
So, or the liver, I
You
should
do
say.
realize
So it's a
though,
toxin, and not only that, it can affect your brain cells.
water,
I know because
water, right,
I know because my
right,
grandfather was an alcoholic. I know what it
right.
did to him.
Okay,
That's what drinking does.
right, right. No one's suggesting that alcohol doesn't relax the brain cells. It does. No one's suggesting that at all, because it does. But what I'm suggesting is, I'm people like to blame it on the alcohol. And what I'm saying is, I can look at my life and there's nothing I've done while drinking that I didn't want to do.
Oh,
Like, there's nothing that they can say, would you blame, the alcohol, like the alcohol is this demonic,
it is demonic.
it takes
It's
over
demonic.
your body,
It's
takes over
demonic.
your mind. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take over your mind, doesn't take over your
Yes,
body.
it does. Yes, it
Alcohol,
does.
all it does is, just like any other drug, is whatever you want to do, it empowers you to do it. So when you want to do something and you don't, it's like normally you wouldn't do it, it reduces all your inhibition. So if you're a skinny guy, and you're skinny, but inside you're like, man, I want to be this tough guy. I really want to be this tough guy. So you get drunk. What do you turn into? Mr. Tough Guy, right? Because inside, that's who you really want to be. You're tired of being this scrawny guy that everybody picks on, everybody, beats up, whatever, bullies. But when you drink alcohol, you turn into, that's Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right? Or whatever, Mr. Heckle, Dr. Hyde, whatever it is, right? Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Um, it shows you can have two different personalities when you drink. When you drink, in my opinion, in my opinion, it only allows you to do what is in your heart to do. Alcohol doesn't come in and all of a sudden turn, if you're a good person, you're an angel, right? You're an angel, and all of a sudden you go out here and start shooting police officers, robbing banks, whatever. Alcohol doesn't do that,
Yes, it
in my
can.
opinion. In my
Yes, it
opinion.
can. Yes, it can.
In my opinion.
Okay, that's your
In
opinion, but
my
that's
opinion.
not true.
Right,
But it
right,
can.
right, right. In my opinion, my opinion, I think people do what it is that they want to do, and they use alcohol as an excuse as to why that happened. Um, you know, and we have our opinions, but that's why communication is key, right? Because being able to communicate our opinions and get the other person to just say, okay, I disagree, but I hear what you're saying. Like, I hear what you're saying, I disagree. You hear what I'm saying, you disagree. And it shouldn't be an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to move forward. Now, the question is when we were dating.
Seeing each other. I hate dating, but go ahead.
Okay,
I
whatever,
do.
however you want
I
to
do. But go
define it.
ahead.
I mean, women nowadays, I think what Thais, she said we weren't, her and Jay never
Right.
dated.
Right. Right.
Okay,
They
so
didn't have a. She said they didn't have a label. So
right.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
I feel her
whatever.
on that.
I say dating as in kicking it, seeing each other, whatever's going on between the two of us, whatever was going on. Um, can you say that's true? Like that you would hear me talk and then be like, okay, that's just Jay's opinion, and let it go, and not try to judge me for it. Do you think, you know, do you think you did that? Or do you think you
Um.
said you heard some things from me and you were like, uh, okay, no, that's just wrong. And then you know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Um. Yeah. It depends on what the subject matter was. Depending on the subject matter, there were things that I didn't agree with, and I just let go. I just said, okay, well, that's just and it was probably a subject matter that wasn't really, um, it wasn't a passionate one. Something that I could
So you
just.
picked your battles.
Yeah, and so absolutely. And then there were other issues, or not issues, but other topics that came up, and I'm like, yeah, he's coming from left field on this one. So yeah, and I'm gonna broach it. I'm gonna say something about it. So yeah, it depended on the subject matter.
Where did that come from, left field?
Um, well, right now the alcohol is the left field one. We'll just use that one. I'm passionate about that because I know what it did to some of my family members, and
Right.
so
But
um,
this never came up really.
I'm just
I
saying
mean,
I'm using it because I can't going back to all. I mean, Jay, come on, we had hours and hours of conversations. I can't really pinpoint it. I mean, I'm sure there were some, um, but I can't pinpoint it right now. I'll just use this particular topic or this particular subject as far as alcohol. I'll use that as one example. Yeah.
I mean, uses what exactly?
For me to respond and
I mean, I drank around you. I drank around your parents. I mean, and I know how your parents feel about alcohol. I know how you feel about alcohol. Um, you know, it um like what's interesting is you were saying, hey, you had way too much to drink, whatever. But when you were riding, like when you were riding with me back to your place, um
we got into it.
not over alcohol.
Yeah, we did. We
Oh,
were
we
in the
got into it over
car.
alcohol.
Yes, we did in the car.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. And matter of fact, you tried to tune me out by turning on your music and turning it up real loud. See, I have a memory because I don't drink like that, so my memory is a little more
Like
clear. It
that.
doesn't really affect my brain cells are not as
Okay.
However,
Right. Right.
so yeah, you turned up your music
Hmm.
because that was the issue, and you felt like I was trying to control you.
Hmm.
Here it is again. Instead of looking at it for what it really is, I care about Jay. I care about how much he is partaking in alcohol because you kept pouring and kept pouring. So I addressed you. I mean, I brought it up in the car, and you felt like I was trying to control you. That's all you got out of it. Jodie trying to control me. No. You act differently when you drink alcohol. Bottom line.
How do I act differently?
When we got back to the house, first of all, you're highly emotional.
How,
You
no, 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 no.
you're highly emotional.
Speak on that.
You
Define that. Give an example on how I'm
I'm
highly.
not Jody. I'm not Jody. I'm not. So I'm trying to explain to you. You had too much drink,
Mm-hmm.
and so in explaining that you had too much drink,
Mm-hmm.
instead of you hearing me out, you cut me off.
Okay.
So in cutting me off, typically, you're a person that you're a person that listens. So instead of you listening because you're inebriated and you're kind of losing, you kind of lost a little, kind of lost. I can't say you lost all senses or whatever, but because the alcohol has uh I would say overtaking your common sense. Well, sorta. Is it you?
We just lost Jody, so I guess we'll wait until she gets back. But what I will say is, I don't lose all. I mean, as you guys can probably pick up on, um, Jody that night, which is interesting that she, refers back to that night. Jody that night, um, was upset because the two friends I had in town, um, and she, oh,
I don't know what
uh,
happened.
I don't know what happened, but
Sorry.
what let me finish what I was saying. But the two friends I had in town that night, um, Jody didn't, and neither did I. Neither one of us expected to go down the road that we went down, um, that night, because they, were basically, we turned into relationship counselors that night. Now, that's something I've always been passionate about. I'm always passionate about, keeping people together and all, understanding that people go through things, and I want to use my experience to help them, overcome whatever challenge or issue it is. Jody was not expecting it that night, so that's fair, because it was out of left field. But to suggest that because I, speed, it's because of alcohol. When I speed naturally, anybody who's ridden with me, whether I'm sober or drinking, will tell you, you know, I drive fast, I ride fast, right? Whether I'm on a motorcycle, Jody, and you know this,
Mm-hmm.
you've been on the back of my bike. Whether I'm on the back of when I'm on my motorcycle or whether I'm in a car, I drive fast, I ride fast. Period. It has nothing to do with alcohol. Um, but what I do take issue with is people trying to assign a certain behavior to alcohol, because I know who I am. And so when Jody, like Jody said, when she probably tried to associate, you know, alcohol with my speeding or what have you, I probably did say something, right? Because I interrupted her because I'm correcting her. I'm like, hey, listen, I ride fast, I drive fast, regardless. It doesn't matter whether, I'm, drinking or not. And so I just wanted to make, because while you got disconnected, Jody, I was just kind of continuing on with the stream, and I just wanted to get that point across that that's why I feel alcohol doesn't do anything. That is one of the reasons why I feel alcohol doesn't do anything that people don't normally want to do or normally
Jay,
do.
Jay, I just like to interject. When we
Yeah,
got
go
back
ahead.
when we got back to my house, and
Yep, I remember.
I was trying to explain to you, instead of you hearing me out, um, why alcohol is it bothers me, or
Mhm.
or being inebriated or being uh a little drunk, because you were. Yeah, you can deny that, but you were.
Drunk
Um,
by whose definition?
but
I mean, was I
you
inebriated? Yes,
you
I had several drinks, but I was
you
okay to
you were
drive. I was
you're
not swerving on the road
you're
or anything like that.
you were very high. You're very highly emotional. You were very highly emotional.
Right.
You really didn't get allow me to get a
You
word in
accused me.
edgewise.
You accused me of
You
something.
didn't, because your behavior was different.
It wasn't
Then
different. You
your
saw me with
behavior your
alcohol.
behavior was different.
How?
You
How
were
was it
more
different?
sensitive. You were more sensitive. You were more
No, no,
highly
no.
emotional when
Jody.
trying to
No, no,
explain,
no, 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 no.
sir.
Jody.
When
How
trying
was
to
my
explain,
no, no, no?
when
How
trying
was
to
my
explain to
behavior
you,
different?
Jay,
No, no,
I
no.
think you had
Before
too
that.
much to
No, no,
drink,
no,
and
Jody,
explain to
Jody,
you
Jody,
why
Jody.
that bothered me. You
Jody.
cut me off and felt like I was trying to control
Jody,
you.
I was drinking at home. I was drinking at
Jay, when
home
we
when we
got
were
back to my
entertaining.
house, yeah, I know you were drinking at home,
So
Jay.
what? No, what was different about that? But because
Jay,
the only reason that you are suggesting I was over emotional, whatever the case, was because you were suggesting that I was drunk.
it's not what
Uh, or
Jay,
go ahead.
you were acting
Okay.
differently than
How?
you
How?
were acting.
How?
I just explained it. The audience can hear what I just said.
No, they didn't. They
You were
didn't.
more sensitive. You're more
At your
sensitive.
house.
You were
At your
right. That's
house.
what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
No, no,
talking
no, no,
about.
no, no, no. Jody.
From the
No,
time we
no, no.
got into the
Jody,
car,
Jody,
Jay,
Jody.
from the
No, no,
time we
no.
got
Wait,
into the
wait.
car,
Jody,
from the
Jody.
time we got
Wait.
into the car to the time we got to my house,
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
you were very sensitive, highly emotional when I was trying to explain to you, Jay, you've had too much to drink. No, I haven't had any. Jody, I'm not drunk. I haven't had anything. Jody, why are you trying to control? It was all about control. Why are you trying to control me? You're always trying to control, and that's like control. So you're basically suggesting that me caring about you and how much you indulge in alcohol is control. That's not control.
Okay, so what I would say is again, I was responding to what you were saying. Now, do I know as a grown ass man who's had drinks before? Yes. Does somebody under the influence, do they have different behavioral, does their behavior change? Slightly, yes, depending on how much they've had. Yes, I will agree to that. But what your kind of conversation, your vernacular, your commentary was like, Jay, you're drunk. And I'm like, listen, first of all, I know when Jay is drunk. I personally know I have awareness when I'm drunk. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not drunk. Have I had something to drink? Yes, I've had several drinks. I'm good to go. I'm okay. We made it to your place, no problem. Didn't have any issues. So unless I can drive drunk, which some people can, right? Some people can, but I know myself. And so where the issue was is you were saying, Jay, you're drunk. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like anybody, like that was the first time you saw me drink, right? And so I took an issue with your perception and opinion because you had never seen me drink before. You had never seen me drunk. You'd never seen me take one drink. You'd never seen me take two. You'd never seen that whole spectrum. But you took, to me, it was like you were in, kind of taking this privilege to say, oh, I know you, you're drunk. And it's like, yo, you don't know me. You need to take a step back, listen to what I'm telling you, that you don't know me. This is the first example. This is, lesson A, or step one. You're like, okay, I'm seeing Jay drink. Okay, they're being around, and this is how he drinks. This is how he is, whatever. And you're like, oh, you're drunk. You're drunk, And I'm like, you've never seen me, like, in all these examples. Like, most women I've dealt with have never said anything to me because they're perceptive. They're like, all right, I see how he is. I'm not going to say nothing. And I'm going to see how he is the next time. And I'm going to
That's them. That's data. Not me.
Right.
That's not me.
Right. But that's normal people collect
No,
data.
That's not normal people. That's not normal people.
Okay.
Because how I broached the issue did not make it abnormal. How I broached the issue did not make it abnormal.
There was nothing I did, Jody, that made you think I was drunk.
Yeah, it was. It was.
What?
Jay, do I have to say it again?
Yeah, say it again.
You were highly sensitive and over emotional, and you didn't let me get a word in edgewise. Period. That is, and so now that you're sober, so in your sobriety, when you're not drinking, and I'm just dealing with someone with a clear head, a level head who has not been drinking, your behavior is different than that I saw that night. Period.
What you didn't realize, Jody, is you had never attacked me in that way, so I never responded in that way. That's what you had never seen. You had never attacked me in that way.
You were highly emotional. You were highly emotional, and even when we were,
Jody, you had never attacked me. You had never attacked me. That was the first time you attacked me. And
I didn't attack you. I didn't attack you, Jay.
No, Jody, it was an attack. I'm telling you, it was an attack. I perceived it as an attack.
Okay, but that was, like I said, as I stated in the beginning, I said that was not the intent of my heart. That's not what that was. It had nothing to do with
it, though, Jody.
Yeah, it did.
That's why this is labeled communication is key. I interpreted your response, your opinion as an attack. So I defended myself. And that was the first
and so
time
instead of him seeing
that you had attacked me.
Okay, so he feels like I attacked him, and he feels like I attacked him, and I feel like he didn't look at the intent of my heart as to where I was coming from, because he and I have had these conversations before about alcohol. I basically told him about my grandfather. I don't know if my mom communicated that to him. I'm not sure, but I know that I told him about my grandfather. We know what alcohol does. Period. We know what it does. Whether you're indulging in it, whether you are partaking in it from if you're just a social drinker, we still know what it does. I have friends that are social drinkers. They just drink on the weekends, every goddamn weekend. But their behavior changes. Period. Their behavior changes from the behavior that I see throughout the whole week. Right. On the weekend, when they drink, when they drink on the weekend, and they've had a little bit too much, to drink, they either become very quiet, which are not quiet people. They're not quiet people. They either become very quiet and very reserved, which are not reserved people. They become very quiet, very reserved, or if they are very if they're not very aggressive, right, then they become aggressive.
Right.
Because but their true nature, they're not aggressive at all. Because that's what you see in them day after day after day. They're very, very they have a very timid spirit. But once they get that alcohol in them, they become very aggressive. And it's like, okay, what so that's what I'm saying. It definitely it's going to change your behavior from one extreme. It's going to change your behavior from one extreme to the next, or it's going to take away your sense of reasoning, or it's going to affect your
Right.
sensibility.
Right.
Period.
Right. I agree, Jody. And where you and that's why I am loving this exchange, because if you reference other videos where I feel like you're wrong, I interject the same way I would have interjected that night when you were wrong. I said, yo, I'm not going to listen to you say something wrong. When as soon as I hear you make an incorrect assessment, I'm going to correct it. I'm not, that's just my personality. It has nothing to do with alcohol. That's Jay's personality. You talk to anybody who knows me, and they will tell you that, yeah, if Jay feels like he's being unfairly criticized or what have you, he's going to interject. He's not going to let you continue. He might interject and say, hey, you're wrong, and be like, but hey, look, I'm just letting you know you're wrong, but go ahead and finish, but I'm just going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just saying that that's my natural personality. Anybody who's known me forever will tell you, like, yeah, that's Jay. Jay ain't gonna let you, if he feels a certain way about something that you said, regardless of whether he's been drinking or not, he's gonna interject and say, hey, no, you're wrong. Period. And that's what I was trying to get you to understand that night, that it has nothing to do with alcohol. Nothing. This is me. But
Okay.
see, you didn't
I
know,
disagree.
right?
And
But you
well,
didn't know me. You
mm-hmm,
didn't know me.
mm-hmm.
You didn't know me. People who know me would have been like, yeah, that's Jay. Jay, that's how he is. He that's what he does. That's exactly how he's gonna respond. You have to, but you didn't, and when you didn't let me like tell you, like, yo, you don't know me, and you tried to, because your response was, Jay, I know you. I know you, Jay. This is, I know how, and that's what I was telling you. I'm like, yo, you don't know me. You don't know me, and you didn't know me then. And if you still believe that, then you still don't know me today, because I can have people, come up and we can, explain the whole situation, and they'll be like, yeah, that's Jay, because that's me. Whether it's my brothers, my parents, my cousins, women I've dealt with, or friends of mine that I
Okay,
have,
so on a
that's me.
regular, when you're not drinking, yeah, but you kind of went into it. This is what I'm saying. You went into like a pouting mode,
No, no,
like
no, no, I
no,
didn't.
no, no. You went into
I
a
remember,
pouting.
Jody.
No,
I
no, no.
remember.
You
I
went
was
into a
upset
pouting.
with you.
It's like you reverted back to a child. That is what I'm saying. That
Mhm.
is not. That's not Jay.
Jody,
That's
I
not Jay.
remember
That's
exactly
not
what you're
Jay
talking about.
sober. That's
Joe, I
not Jay
remember.
sober. You went
Jody,
back into a child. That's what
Jody,
I'm saying.
I remember, Jody, because we took a shower that night, and I was like, exactly, exactly. You're like, oh, he remembers that? Exactly. I remember. And
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I didn't. Okay.
right. What I'm telling you is, I was upset because when people try to tell me how I am, I take it not many people would have taken it. I think you're the only one that has gotten to that level. Like, anybody, like, first of all, no one's ever come at me like that about alcohol,
Mhm.
because women, I'm not saying you're not the first one to broach the conversation to say, hey, um, it was our first time, interacting when you drink, and I just want to make sure, like, I'm thinking, this is what I was, and then we have a conversation. So I'm not saying, because every situation, whether it's smoking weed, drinking, or whatever people do around each other, right? Like, and they see that person in that situation, they're gonna say, hey, I just want to make sure that, I know this is what I perceive, whatever. So I'm not saying you're not wrong to raise the issue. What I'm saying is, you were wrong in your assessment. And so, like, no one else, like everyone else I've dealt with, if they've raised that issue, we've had a conversation, and they've taken it as a data point and been like, oh, yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, you're right. That's just you. I see. But you, without having any other data points, was ready to make a conclusion. And I'm like, yo, you can't make a conclusion when you don't have zero other data. One data point doesn't give you enough information to conclude this is what happens in every situation.
What you talking about? One data point?
That's the only data point you had.
You talking about you, or are you talking about other people that I've been around that drink alcohol?
Me.
Oh, okay.
Me. I can't talk about everybody else. I'm talking about me. And so, because I can't, when you were asking me, I wasn't responding for other people. I'm just defending myself. I'm like, yo, I know me, and I know that I'm not gonna do anything to jeopardize the safety of definitely somebody that I care about, nor myself. Like I'm like, yo, I'm too old for that. Like when I was younger, I'd take the risk. But at this stage, like, no, I'm not taking that risk. And so when you were coming at me like that, you were suggesting like, oh, you still in this 20-year-old mindset, whatever. And I'm like, yo, you don't even know me to even say that. Like, get another couple of data points and then say like, yeah, you need to. And where I was coming from, which was, yo, get a couple more data points, and then if those data points are in line with that data point, and you can actually draw a line, boom, 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 it's a line. But like, yeah, this behavior is consistent. Then okay, but that wasn't the case. I was like, yo, you're just now seeing this, and you're already like, you have no idea whether like what, how, like if this is how I naturally am or not. And so that was what I was trying to get you to understand. But you were already set in your mind. Like you had your mind dead set. Yep. Because of your prior experiences with other people who drink alcohol, you're like, oh, I already know this. This is what, And I'm like, no, forget them. Listen to me. And so when you wouldn't listen to me, I'm like, how is she not listening to me? You know what I'm saying? And she's listening to these other or referencing these other experiences from people. And I get it. Like, I get it. Like, and I think I might have said, look, I get it. You're referencing experiences. You can't ignore them. I get that. But I'm like, yo, don't compare me to them. Like, I'm big on that. Don't compare me to nobody. Like, and I think most men are like that. Don't compare them to most good men. I'll say that. Most good men are like, yo, don't compare me. That's like a no-no to women. Like, if you compare a good man
But
to,
Jay, you do this. But Jay, you've done that. You did that to me throughout the whole relationship.
I did
how
what?
how I broach, how I address issues, how I act, how I behave. Uh, it's like, Jody, most of the people that I've dated, they wouldn't react this way, or or they wouldn't be asking these type of questions, or they wouldn't. It was always Jody. So you did a comparison throughout the whole relationship. So
You're right. You're right.
I probably compared you as far as alcohol. I looked at the behavior and I know what the behavior looks like. That's what I did. But as far as comparing you to another man, I ain't never done that.
What I would say is, first, you're right, because we identified that on the last call when I said, yo, I didn't realize it, but I am, you know, a wounded bird in some regards, because if a woman comes at me with insecurity issues, I will run. I mean, basically running. I like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I'm throwing up the white flag, like, yo, I'm good. I don't want none of that, right? With the insecurity issues. Just because I know, like, my personality it creates insecurity for a woman who's not secure herself. Like, you know, me, I have a lot of female friends. I'm quick to just, talk to women. I'm quick to talk to anybody. But, you know, I know I'm, just as quick to talk to a woman as I am a man. And so I know that would trigger certain insecurities in women. So I get that. So yeah, when a woman's flag, insecurity flag, it, flags, I'm like, hey, I don't want no, yeah, I'm good. Um, so I will agree with you on that. I will agree. Like, I did do that with you. As soon as that, came up, yes, I'm guilty. I will admit that.
And it didn't change because I'm gonna be me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the thing about it is that yeah, if I see if there's something if there's something that's making me feel uncomfortable, then yeah, I'm going to address it. Period. And so there were
But you
quite
should. But you should.
there were quite a few things that made me feel uncomfortable based on Jay's personality and how he moves. And so if
Yeah, you used to say that.
and
How
so
I
if
move.
you're telling me if you know if I'm raising these or addressing these issues that are making me feel uncomfortable based on how you move, because you move differently, I'll give you that. um
Let's
and
be
then the first
honest.
and then the
Oh,
first
whoa, whoa,
thing
whoa,
and then the
whoa, whoa.
first thing you
Jody,
say then the
Jody,
first thing
Jody,
you
Jody,
say
Jody,
is
Jody, 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 Jody. Yes, I move differently, but I move differently because I'm I move like some men do who are actually doing the things that you thought I was doing based on how I was moving.
yeah. And
I
so the thing and so
right.
right, and so there was no communication. All it was is Jody's tripping. Jody is in, it's like insecure. Well, or it was more so, Jody, this is the first time, you know, or he would compare me to his ex-wife. Um, I'm not used to women asking me these type of questions, or I'm not used to, coming at me. The women that I've dated, I'm not. I mean, it was always a comparison, and as I used to be like, look, I'm not them, and I don't want to be them. Period. I don't. I'm not them. So I wanted to explain to him, and I'm not his ex-wife either. Uh, we may have a few things, maybe, as far as feeling unsafe. Maybe that's what we have in common, because in some instances, yeah, Jay did not make me feel safe, and he was not willing to communicate. And he wasn't willing to, I can't say he wasn't willing to communicate. He wasn't willing, and like we discussed in the prior video, he wasn't willing to say, hey, Jody, where is this coming from? That was the whole crux of the matter. Jody, where is this coming from? Why do you feel the way you feel? And of course, in the prior video, I explained that, I suffer from father abandonment. And so it manifested in some of my relationships. And it still manifests in some of, I've gotten a whole lot better, trust me. But then again, I've been with men um who made me, I didn't have to question. You know what I mean? I didn't really have to question, because from the very beginning they made me feel safe. So, but um that wasn't common, in my dating life. That wasn't common. I think there were probably two that made me really feel safe, where I didn't have to question. I knew how they moved. You know what I mean? They were very transparent in that way. And so with Jay,
Hold
and
on,
they
hold on.
had
They were very transparent. Hold on, hold
and
on,
they
hold on.
had, hold
Jody,
on,
Jody, Jody, Jody,
and
Jody.
let me
They were
finish.
very transparent.
Let me
Okay.
finish. And they had female friends as well. I don't want you guys to think that, okay, Jay is the only guy that I've dated with a whole bunch of female friends. I mean, now is he the only guy that I've dated that got like friends all across the goddamn globe? Female friends across the globe. Yeah. I mean, acquaintances, associates. I don't want to say friends, because that using that friend term, now you using that too loosely, but women that
Well,
he
you already
knows
know.
across
I
the
mean, when I say
globe.
it's,
And is he the only man that I've dated that has a plethora of women friends to that extent? Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. So instead of him saying, Jody, where's all this coming from? Talk to me. It was none of that. Man, it's like my friends don't my people. I mean, I've dated all the women that I've dated. They don't come at me like this. They don't come at me like this, Jody. I ain't used to this. They don't come at me like this. Uh so yeah. So when you have that type of feedback, it's like you retreat. You start to retreat. You know what I mean? You don't even want to. You just retreat, and then of course you build up this barricade, and that's what happened.
Right. Um, because most women
Most women.
um that I dealt with,
Okay. There,
um, they saw how I moved prior, right? And
and so he
so
thought innately I was supposed to. He said it's like Jody, you should know how I move. You know what I mean? Stop tripping. It's like, dude, we've only been knowing each other this for a short amount of time. So like, give
right,
me the
right,
benefit of the
right,
doubt.
right, right,
And he
right,
didn't.
right,
And he
right,
didn't do
right,
that.
right.
He didn't do that.
Like most women I deal with or dealt with were on the stepping scene.
Mm-hmm.
So they saw how I moved. Um, like, yeah, I was very friendly with a lot of women, but I never had that one woman that I would, kind of, I don't want to say flaunt, but that was just always by my side, right? Um, and when I did have that woman next to me, then that was my woman. Like if I put it out there, then people knew like, oh yeah, like okay, like Jay ain't never put nobody. He don't put nobody out there unless they are like that's the one he's going after. Um, and so with you, I was like, yo, look, I don't put you out in front of my friends and family here. And if you remember, you know, I was ready to put you out in front of my friends and family
In
in
Ohio.
Ohio because
Mm-hmm.
I bought tickets to go, for my boy's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And then when, Corona hit,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was ready. I was still ready to like, hey, well, let's take a trip to either Chicago or DC. Chicago where I got some, friends and family there, or DC where my parents were and I got family there too. Like either or, I was like, yo, I was trying to show you like, yo, I want to people to get to, I mean, even when my boy called, like, yeah, my boy called me when I was with you at and he was, and I was like, yeah, I'm with Jody. Like he knew about you. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm-hmm.
made sure because that's how I am. Like if it's serious, then people gonna know, right? If it's like, yo, man, I just met this chick last weekend, bruh. Yo, off the easy, you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna tell like my immediate friends because I know that it's not going nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm like, yo, I see something here in this one here, man. So I was doing everything I could to show you that, yo, you know, you like you have a chance at the title, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a very good chance at the title. Um, and it's like these little, bumps in the road kept getting in the way, you know, and I think it's all in how we communicated, which is why like the title of this episode is communication is key, because I think if you would have communicated your concerns a different way, I would have communicated a different way, because I'm reacting and responding to what you're saying and doing versus reacting and responding to your fears, which I didn't know what your fears were, because that's how, women operate, right? Like, women react and respond based on their fears. And then those actions men are reacting and responding to, but we could be totally off depending on if we're interpreting those actions and reactions and words appropriately. Like, and clearly I was not, right? I was just taking it on the surface and like, hey, this is how she's reacting and she's responding. Doesn't make sense to me, based on this ABC 1 2 3. And I'm really rational, and most men are really rational. Like, they'll try to evaluate, like, okay, or analyze, like, all right, how does she get to, how she's acting? Like, let me try to figure this out. It's like a puzzle. Most men will try to put the pieces of the puzzle together, but if we can't do it, like I mentioned in another episode we had, I was like, if men can't pull that, I said, if men can't, or if men determine that a woman's actions are illogical or irrational, then we call them crazy. And once we assign that crazy label, then it's a wrap, basically, because ain't no man dealing with no crazy woman. So, like, and you got to admit, every time you reacted like aggressively, I'd be like, yo, where's this coming from? Like, because I'm trying to understand, because I knew that once I didn't want to assign that crazy label to Jodie. I didn't. But I know once I assign that crazy label, it's a wrap. Like, that's what any man, like, that's what a woman needs to understand. Like, once a man assigns her as crazy, it's a wrap. Because you don't go from being crazy to wifey. It don't happen that way. Like, and so I was trying not to assign crazy. I'm like trying to understand, but just like everything how it happened, it was like, I couldn't help but assign crazy to Jodie because of how it happened, not knowing like what I know now. You know what I'm saying? And being able to have this conversation that we're having now, it was like, yo, this chick crazy, like, because I know the kind of guy I am, and we talked about this. I talked to your mom. So, just to let y'all know, like, I'm real cool with Jodie's mom and her stepdad. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, real cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, her mom especially is like, man, like, that's that's my ace right there.
Yeah.
Like, and so I was trying to understand, and again, given the family dynamic, right? Like, like, your mom didn't want to share too much information. And your stepdad, he's just like, yo, I'm an innocent bystander. I ain't, I ain't trying to, and so, I immediately, kind of gravitated towards her and was like, well, give me some more info. And she's just like, well, I can't, because I don't want to compromise my relationship with my daughter.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get the information, but when I couldn't get it, then I was like, again, men will. I think I went over and beyond before I assigned the label crazy to Jodie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to, exhaust all, you know, my options. Like, and then when I felt like I exhausted them, I'm like, yo, this chick crazy. Like, there's no other reason. Like, she's crazy. Um, when in reality, you had a method to your madness that you
Mhm.
just never explained to me. And I think
Mhm.
with most women, there's a method to their madness that they just don't explain to the man.
Mhm.
And if they did, and if it's a good man, you got to be a good man. If it's a
Yeah.
good
That's
man, then he'll be like, "Oh, okay, okay. Well, let's start here." There'd be a mutual, like, kind of like, a meeting of the minds. Let's meet here and let's start here. But we never had that.
mhm.
So I feel like if we would have, had that, then all these experiences, because you got a lot, like, you got to imagine most women have all these horrible experiences with men, and men don't have all these horrible experiences that they can rely, with women. Like,
Mhm.
it's, and so we're able to more like be like, okay, well, what's going on? Because I'm trying to understand you. But like, women are like, how do I, it's like, how can you not understand this? Like, most men that I've dealt with have done ABC 1, 2, 3, and it's like, yo, I'm not, and I'm not. Again, I'm not saying that a lot of men aren't doing what most men are doing, because they are, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I consider myself to be an exception, which, I mean, that's up to, because, I choose to be an exception. I could choose to be like most men, right? And treat women the way most men do. And I'd be average, right?
Mhm.
But I consider myself to be an exception. So I don't treat women the way most men do,
Mhm.
right? Like, that's why I didn't try to treat you, because that's my thing. Like, I'm listening to, you tell me, about this guy, that guy, whatever. And I'm like, okay, and I mean, I've told you, like, like, my whole thing, what I didn't know until recently was, I don't know if maybe I didn't tell you, but I, like, the type of women I go after are the women that I can be like the Prince Charming to,
Mhm.
right? Like, they've had these horrible experiences. What I didn't realize is, like, I thought it was like the exception had these horrible experiences, but what I realized is the average woman has had, like, her average experiences are horrible.
Mhm.
Like, you got horrible as the average, you know, like, just goddamn awful is the extreme on the upside, and terrible is the average on the low end.
Mhm.
You know, I'm just now starting to understand this. You know what I'm saying? And so I call it my superpower that I recently have acquired, that I can understand, like, what's going on now. But, and I see your face, you know.
Well, let me just interject. So with Jay, because I don't want, well, then I would be caring about what the audience thinks, and I don't. But I know this is a channel, and I know that we're bringing our experiences to this channel to try to help other couples, or yeah, I guess that's the premise or the goal. In saying all that, I think I don't want the audience to think that I've had these horrible experiences. I did have one major horrible experience that is indelible in my mind. It will never leave me ever. The rest of
With
them
who?
were it's just you know
With
it,
who?
it,
Me?
no 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 no
Oh,
no no
oh,
no
okay.
no. So there was one that's indelible in my mind.
Right.
But the rest of my experiences were just they were they were common experiences. You know what I mean? Your relationships are up one day, down the next day. You go through those emotional roller coasters or whatever. So I would say that I had one severe
Just
bad
one,
relationship.
Jody. Just
But
one.
yeah, one severe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know
One.
at least two that you told me
No,
about.
no. No. If you're thinking about what I'm thinking about, that wasn't a bad experience. That was a waste of my life. That was like, but
That's a
I
bad
can't say no,
experience.
no, no. But I'm not going to say he treated me badly. I cannot say that. I cannot. That
Did he
other
lie to you?
experience,
Did he
that
lie to you?
other, that other
Did he
experience
lie?
that I had, that
Was he
other
lying
experience
to
that I
you?
had, huh?
Was he lying to you?
No, no,
Oh, so he wasn't saying
no.
that was just
But
you.
that was me.
Okay.
He never lied. Never lied. Never.
I thought
Um,
you told me he said he was always saying, "Hey, like I want this
He
when this."
did want this. He did want this, but he was a coward. I'm not going to say he lied. I knew the situation, but he
How
was
do you
too
know he
coward.
lied though?
But no, he been because that's not his character. He kept it as you guys would say 100 from the very beginning.
So he
Very
told you he
beginning.
was involved with a situation from the beginning.
From the very beginning. We started out as friends. You got to remember, we had a friendship for a
Right.
whole year, strictly platonic. And then
Right.
it manifested, and I'm not gonna say it grew. It manifested into something else. So, but but the thing
But
about
he
it
was
is that,
so
but the
you
thing about it
stayed in
is,
that.
huh?
You stayed in that situation because you wanted the situation, not because he was telling you he was going to
It
leave
was
his
something
other.
that he felt like he could do, like remove himself from. First of all, when we started seeing each other, we were 26 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so and he had just got into that situation. So the point of the matter is that he should have never got into the situation. He got into the situation because of something circumstantial, and I don't want to be too transparent about that. It was something circumstantial that got him into that situation, and he felt obligated. So the point of the matter is that did I know about the situation? So this is the point of the matter.
He
The
could have
point of
made a
the matter
choice.
is
He
the
could have
point of
made a
the matter is
choice.
that
He could have made a
it should have
choice.
never it was never my intent for it to into that. Never.
But Jody.
Hold on.
Okay.
So because we're delving into something else. The whole point of the matter is that what made and this is what I was trying to say. I was trying to say that my experience that really impacted me, aside from father abandonment, was this other experience. Where this person was saying this is going to be my wife. He introduced me to his parents. He introduced me to his family,
All right.
and I mean, all that. I mean, just this is it. This is it. This she gonna be my wife. And then come to find out he had a whole nother girlfriend. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, and this whole other girlfriend never met his family ever. He was the one bringing me around, showboating me, having me on his arms, allow me to meet his family. It was, just a very intimate. And then this person had a whole another girlfriend, a whole another serious relationship. So that was the relationship that I was like, yeah, that really got to me. That right there, Jay, my best friend Jay, my best friend Jay. So my best friend Jay knows about all this. He will tell you that was the relationship that really got to me. But
Let me
anyway.
ask you a question though, Jody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, given where you're at today,
Mm-hmm.
you still believe that, situation number two that I was
Mm-hmm.
referring to
Mm-hmm.
he was in that against his will.
I'm not going to go into his business. I'm not
Jody, Jody, all I'm saying
because
is,
the thing about it is this is live, and if he were to ever come across this on YouTube, he's going to know who I'm talking about. Because
right, of course.
yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to defer on that one. I can't. But off the record, I'll tell you off the record, Jay, but I'm not going to tell you on record right now. So like I was explaining to the audience, I don't want the audience to think that, I've had all these bad, cruel relationships.
Let me ask you a question.
I think, let me finish. Let me finish. I think one of the things that what stood out for me with Jay that trumps everybody else is that, and because when Jay said that he's an exception, in some manner he is. We all know, ladies, especially in the Black community, and this is straight up, because I still see it amongst Asians, amongst, Europeans, amongst Spanish. Chivalry is not a lost art. In the Black community, brothers, you gotta like force feed brothers, or it's like pulling teeth for brothers to really exhibit that art of chivalry, because it's a lost art. That art was prevalent back, during my stepdad's era, like 1948, those black men, it was nothing for black men to open up your car door and pull out your chair at a restaurant or walk you to the door. That was common for black men back in. Now it's a lost art. So what stood out for me with Jay was that. Because Jay got that on lock. I'm for real. The whole opening up your car door. And it's not just a matter of opening up your car door. It's like if you're driving and he's on the passenger side, he's going to get out on the passenger side, come around and open up your car door. I think I only know one other person that's consistent with that. And that's my best friend, Jay. So with that, that's kind of what captured my heart. Seriously, that's, if he wants to say that he is he's an exception in my eyes, that's what made him an exception for me. Right. Because that's a lost art in the Black community with black men. Hands down.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm an exception for more than that, but
I'm talking about my experience with you.
Right. Hold on, I'm having technical difficulties here.
Yes, excuses technical difficulties.
But what I will say is, I think that I'm an exception for more than that. But I really want to go back to what you said before. And and I know, you want to maintain anonymity for this person, but for me, just meeting somebody like yourself, right? And when I met you, I mean, smart, intelligent, great sense of humor, beautiful, caring. She checks all the boxes, right? Checks all the boxes. And I mean, the first box is, of course, she has to be attractive, right? And then you're like, all right, well, what about the other boxes? And she checked all those, right? And so that's like when you're just meeting somebody, you know what I'm saying? But then when you get into the, start evaluating experiences, right? And when you told me about that one experience that, about the one guy, and, for me, I'm just being honest, like to hear you protect him, like I have an issue with that, because in my opinion, he knew exactly what he wanted and he knew exactly what he didn't want. And like, to me, it was very clear on what he didn't want, but he was able to convince you that that's what he wanted, even though he didn't want it. Because if, I mean, you're a strong black woman who's very um, uh, uh, receptive, or you know, when a man wants something, he goes after it.
Mm-hmm.
Like with you, with me, you right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I pursued you. You didn't pursue me, even though there was like you ended up having to, sort of pursue me
Mm-hmm.
because you turned me down in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, and so to suggest that this guy was still pursuing you, even though,
Hard.
right, even
Mm-hmm.
though he was still in this other situation,
Mm-hmm.
like, to me, like, again, me personally, um, I'm not, I didn't even really think about it, right? When you first explained the whole situation to me and how
Mm-hmm.
you guys were still friends and all this and that. But when I explained it to another woman, she made me, and I never treated you any differently based on that
Mm-hmm.
information,
Mm-hmm.
but she made it very clear to me. She's like, well, Jay, like, clearly any guy that's going to maintain that situation, like, because men have done it for years. He's not singular, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so she's like, my fear is that you get into that and he one day says, I'm ready. What would have been your response?
My response would have been,
And be true.
to be truthful. Let me tell you something, and this person will tell you this. This same person that we're talking about. I told you this, and I communicated it to you. I told that person that Jay would have been the person I married. I told you that. If that person had left a situation, it would not have changed because I was so into you. That situation, who you are trumps who he is. Bottom line. The only thing that keeps us connected is the fact that we've been knowing each other for 20 something years. And it's the fact that we had history. And it's the fact that, we really started out as we really started out as good friends. That's what kept the connection. And I
Mhm.
guess that's what continues to keep the connection. But as far as if he said, Jody, first of all, like I told him, if he left his situation, I wouldn't even trust him. I wouldn't trust him because what he did with that situation, he gonna do it to me. He thinks he won't. He thinks he will not. He thinks he has enough discipline to. But I said the same thing you did with that situation. You gonna do it to me. So I told him there's no way I would ever trust you ever. So that no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not so invested in or vested in the friendship that if I met a good man, that if he left his situation, I would say no to this good man. And oh, Jay Johnson, absolutely not. This is something I communicated to him, and this is something that I'm communicating to you. Absolutely not. As a man, Um, and like I was telling Diane and Herbie, Jay Jay trumps that person all day long in
They asked you.
on
They
many
asked
different
you.
levels. Huh?
They asked you.
No, it's just a we were talking. We were just having a conversation. We were having a conversation. But they knew how I felt about you. So um that situation doesn't, yeah. I would never trust him ever. I'd never. And it's not, it's something I commit. It's not anything he does not know. I would never trust him ever,
So why are you friends with him?
because our friendship is so deep. You know, it's we our lives are so parallel, Jay.
How?
Um, you know, coming being a product of a single parent. Um, I mean his family, the things that he's experienced with his family, I mean literally it's like a mirror image of what I've experienced with my family.
Right.
Seriously, it's like
Okay.
we have so many things on when it comes to family dysfunction. Oh my
Hmm.
God. I mean, we can talk for hours on that, and we have, because our lives are so parallel on that level.
Right.
And
So
and emotionally on that level, he's been there for me. And emotionally on that level, I've been there for him. When it came to his, the situation with him and his dad, situation with, me and my people, we've literally been there for each other
where was
emotionally.
he? Where was he at when I was around though? Because didn't you tell me that when we started talking, he was like, "All right."
Disconnected. We just, yeah. I
But
he cut.
is that what a friend does?
No, 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 no. No, well, this is the thing.
Hmm.
No, a friend does not do that. But he felt like his thing was, I wanted to give you I wanted to give you your space. You're in this relationship. I want to give you your space. I don't
That's
want
not what
to.
you told me though. That's not what you told me.
Well, whatever I told you was the truth. What did
You
I tell
told
you?
me. You told me. You were like, he doesn't. He like basically he has an issue when you date other men. Like he can't handle that, so he
Well, he
removes
does,
himself
but
from the situation.
that part is. But both parts are true. Both parts are true.
I mean, if he, but is that a friend though? Like I have, as you know, I have several friends of mine, and regardless of it, I mean, I want the best for them. So when they're dating like Mr. Wonderful, I'm like, yo, I'm there. And when they're dating Mr. Horrible, like I'm there. So
Okay. But I can't say. What I will say, as my mom and I have discussed, what we both know is that this person is selfish. Am I going to say that he's not a friend? No. Because even I know that whenever I call on him, if I need something done, based on the fact that I'm a single woman, when I was a single woman living in this house, anything that needed
what
to
has
be
he
done,
done?
I
What
know
has
I
he
could call.
done exactly? What has he done exactly?
If
I'm
I
curious.
needed plumbing, if I needed him to put the whatever in the attic, if I needed him to come move something. Matter of fact, he helped he did help me move. I mean, he helped Herbie move my stuff. I just picked
Oh,
up the phone. Hey,
okay.
I need help. I need help. And so he was like, I'm there. So that's what I'm saying. Like Diane was
So
saying, you just
hold on.
this is
Let me
what
get
this
this
is what
right.
she said.
Let me make sure I get this right. You give me the fifth degree because I didn't ask you
But
if you
no,
needed
but
help.
no,
Oh, hold
he
on, let me
initially
finish. Let me
no,
finish.
hold
Let me
on.
finish.
I'm
Did you
giving you
reach
bits
out
and
to
pieces
him
because
and
no,
ask
because
him to
he
help you?
no, listen, he initially volunteered. He initially volunteered. I said no, hold on. I said no. I said no because I didn't know how my mom, Diane still takes issue with this person.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
you should.
based on the fact that they were going to be in the same,
Mm-hmm.
they were going to
Mm-hmm.
be around each other. I
Right.
said, let me see how comfortable Herbie was already comfortable because Herbie ain't really got no beef with anybody. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
you know Herbie.
Yep.
So
Yep.
my mom, I wanted to see how comfortable she was with it. And so, when I told her, I said, look, whatchamacallit asked me for help. And I was like, no. I initially said no because I didn't know how comfortable you were with it. I said, but based on how much help I need, I was like, I need his help. So her thing was, okay, well, do what you got to do. So that's when I called him and I was like, hey, I need your help. So that's how that went down.
But you would rather ask him for help.
No, he volunteered first though.
Okay. He
So so he
volunteers.
took the initiative first. He took the initiative first. And that's what counts. He took the initiative first.
But
Period.
I'm just saying, Jodie, like in our,
Mm-hmm.
dealings, right? Like I didn't do no underhanded shit, right? Um, like when we called it a rap, it was mutual
Mm-hmm.
based on like we couldn't agree, we couldn't align together.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This individual, and again, I'm not taking I understand how women operate, right? When you want something really bad and you know, the guy controls what you really want. Because that's at the end of the day, men control access to relationships, women control access to sex. So I
Mm-hmm.
get it. You wanted that relationship really bad, so you're like willing to do anything to get it.
No, I wasn't willing to do anything to get it.
I'm just saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I'm just saying you were willing to do, the most to get it,
Mm-hmm.
rather than call me. Again, I don't have an issue with this. I'm just walking you through, like in my mind, what I see, right? Rather than call me, because we talked about why I didn't offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know where I'm coming from, and but rather than call me, and again, I get it, even though I didn't come at you no negative way. You still could have said, Jay, I need your help to do this, because it's not like I was gonna bite your head off, because I'm not that kind of guy.
No, I wasn't scared of that. I wasn't
Right.
scared of that.
But
Mm-hmm.
you said, let me go that route. Um, and again, I came to you after the fact, you know, letting you know why I chose not to offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like it was just like so much. It was more than just the offer. To me, it was like, you had this cloud of like negativity, and then you're overly specific on how you want things done. You mesh those two together, is like, and then throw Jay in there, who's not very, like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that's a recipe for like an explosion. And so, but what I'm saying is, like me, I can, kind of take a step back and say, hey, okay, this is why I didn't do it. My bad, right? This is why I didn't do it. Why do you think you didn't ask me if you needed that help? Knowing,
Because you didn't volunteer.
so simply because I
Yeah,
didn't
because
volunteer.
I am not a person. I'm just not that. When a person, based on my circumstances, just like Herbie and Diane,
Mm-hmm.
they knew my situation. They just knew the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
They knew the hours that I worked, blah 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 blah. I was overly stressed. With all that.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, it's like, Jody, don't worry about it. We got you. We're here to help you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. So because they know I'm not gonna ask, they will tell you I'm not. I don't ask. That's just not who I am. I feel like when a person
Okay.
sees your situation, when a person sees your situation,
That's fair.
they know you're, and it's visible. You know what I mean? live and living color.
Yo, and to be fair, I didn't know your situation.
They saw the situation. They
Okay,
saw what I was wrestling with,
right,
and they were like, "We got you. Calm down. We know you're stressed. We're gonna be there to help." And they came in fully loaded, and they
right,
did.
because
And
you were
so people
sharing
who know
that with
me,
them. You
people
was
know
you
me. Even
right.
even Jay, even Jay,
You
Jay
were
will tell
sharing
you.
that with them though.
Hold on, even Jay will tell you. Even Jay, yeah, but Jay didn't know. He didn't know the intricacies of what was going
He
on with me.
did know.
He knew that I worked long hours, but he didn't know how stressed I was. He did not
Jody,
know.
you did not tell me you were working long
Jay,
hours, Jody.
Jay did not. Hold on.
Jody.
Yes, I did, and I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you about this. I told you the amount. Your problem is, had you been listening on the phone instead of tuning me out like you do when I talk, because you do that. You pick and
Jody,
choose
we
what you want to
talk
listen
very
to.
we don't talk that often, so I don't
It
tune
doesn't
you out. I
matter. When we
listen.
do talk, you pick and choose what you want to listen to. Other than that, you'll tune me out and you'll get to surfing on the
Okay,
internet on
Jody,
your phone.
Jody, Jody,
That's
Jody,
that's what you
Jody,
do. So
Jody.
don't say that I didn't
Well,
tell you, because I know
all right, Jody,
I know
Jody.
that's what I said. I said I've been working 12 to 13 hours a day. I've been telling everybody that.
Okay,
So
Jody, Jody, Jody. Hold on,
everybody
time out,
that I've
time out.
spoken to on the phone. So this is the point.
Jody,
This is my
time out.
point.
Jody,
This is
hold
my
on, hold
point.
on, hold on, hold on. Time out. I I will acknowledge. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. But what I will also acknowledge is, because it's the kind of guy I am, when because you, every time we text or talked, you were like, I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of shit. And to me, when I do the math, like, with the amount of time you had to pack and get this stuff done, I was like, and I explained this to you, right? In my mind, I was like, all right, she got enough time, and I know how, and I know how you are, like, overly particular about how things get done. So I'm like, okay, she has enough time to get this shit, ish done, and we just lost Jody. So I'm gonna keep. This is the second time. I don't know what she got going on over there, but she had more than enough time to get it done. And in my mind, again, because I'm like, all right, I didn't want to overstep, and so, you know, I was like, okay, she's got 60 days. She's got this to pack. I'm like, it's a no-brainer. She can get that done. Um, so that's where I was at with it. Which is why I didn't inquire, And I told, and that's not the only thing. Again, the other thing was, based on our prior interactions, they hadn't been the most positive. So I was like, yo, I don't want to deal with that negative. Like, guys will tell you, like, if both parties ain't cool, then they know it's going to be, pose uh issue. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. Like, that's what I thought. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, just to be clear, like, maybe it's me thinking Jody's not completely over me. Maybe she is. I don't know. Um, and so that's why I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hold off, on asking, because I don't know, and I don't want no drama. I don't want no craziness. Um, and I don't know. It doesn't look like she's gonna jump back in. So, but anyway, I think for the most part, you guys can see how important communication is, because that's what Jody and I have really conveyed is the how we've been miscommunicating because we have, right? Um, and so it could be, again, I don't want to say Jody, doesn't want to log in. I think it's probably because maybe there's a limit on how long we can stream, what have you. So, but again, our effort, our objective is to help others, um, through their situation, using our situations as as a catalyst, um, to gain this new, this new revelation, because that's what I've gained, right? I mean, I'm here to tell you guys, like, this new revelation I've gained about how women operate. Oh my goodness! Like, I'm gonna have to do one on my own, just explaining that revelation. But I'm also trying to help Jody through, her revelations as well. Um, and I'll be honest here, in the last few minutes here, like, it's probably clear to you guys that there's still a door between me and Jody, right? It's not like we filled the door in with, cement. Um, I, whether or not she would acknowledge that, but I think there's a door there. It's not a wall. It's a door. And she just jumped back in. Let me bring her back in. Um,
Sorry, you guys. My phone disconnected. I'm in a hotel right now, so sorry about that.
so Jody, what I share with them is, while you were gone, is that, uh number one, um I said there's a door between, if they haven't picked up on it yet, regardless of whether you would acknowledge it or not. I said there's a door between us, not a wall. And that door can be open both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and right now, neither one of us are opening the door, uh, but the door exists.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I kind of, I shared that in addition to, just some other. I gave my perspective on the situation, um, you know, that we were talking about. But that was where you came in at, which was,
Okay.
hey, there's a door that exists between us. Um, it's not a wall,
Right.
and right now, both of us are, still on both sides of the door, just talking through the door.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Um, I see you smiling.
It's true.
Um, and so, uh, we'll see, where we go is where we go. You know what I'm saying? They'll probably see it real time, live, when you get your epiphany, um, to walk through that door. But, but yeah, I mean, that's just where we're at.
um. Well, it's really interesting that what you can do in front of an audience, we weren't able to do
All right, whoa,
one
don't
on one.
go, no, 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 no.
We
You got a frog
we
in your pocket?
because you're a participant.
You got
You're
a
a
frog in your
participant.
pocket?
You're a participant. You you were
No, no,
you were
no.
par- you were par- you were
Jay,
participatory. You were participatory. So
and
it's really
what?
interesting how we can be. It's really interesting that we can do this opening up about relationships and even about our relationship. It's funny. It's funny what you can do in front of an audience that you can't even
Well, I told
do.
you, that's my newfound special powers that I can now see your lack of communication. I mean, my lack of communication too, but
But
still,
he has a lack of communicate because he shuts down. So when you shut down, you don't communicate.
right. I said I can see my lack of communication
Okay.
too,
Okay.
but I'm just saying that what the original superpower was is being able to determine or ascertain your lack of communication. And then your lack of communication led to I mean, it didn't lead based on my experiences. When you reacted the way you reacted, I reacted to those experiences. I mean, to those reactions and or actions and words. Um, and again, I probably could have reacted, a lot differently if I had a different perspective, which I didn't have until now. Like I have this new perspective now, so I respond and react differently.
I think I would say I no, I don't think I'm not going to say that there was a lack of communication. I mean, because I'm very communicative. I communicate very well. I
No,
think,
not your feelings. You don't. Not your true feelings. You don't.
well,
Exactly.
I think communicating my true feelings.
Just be real, Jody.
Again, no, Jay, you have to no, you got to you
Jody,
have
I've talked to your mom about this, and you know what she tells me? She's like, if you and Jody would just communicate what you guys feel, then y'all wouldn't have had no problems. That's what she said. Y'all wouldn't have had no issues at all. So just acknowledge that you
yeah,
don't
but the
communicate
thing
what you
about it is,
feel.
Jay,
Why you
Jay,
see, she's still fighting.
Jay,
Still fighting.
no, no,
Still fighting.
no. It's about being comfortable for me. I have to have a sense of
Regardless,
comfortability.
Jody.
A
Regardless.
sense of comfortability.
Right. Okay.
If
Okay.
I'm letting down my walls just a little bit, I have to be comfortable. That person has to make me feel comfortable.
I
Seriously.
right. I get what you're saying, Jody, but at the end of the day, regardless of not whether it's Jay or not, like you're gonna have to let the walls down. Like,
It's earned. That's earned. That's not anything. You just don't
and
let your wall.
I'm glad
It's
you said
earned.
that.
That's
I'm
earned.
I'm glad you said that because it's not earned.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
That's how you operate. I don't operate
Let
like
me
you, Jay.
finish, Jody.
You can't look
Jody.
out. You can't look through your lenses. You got to look at through the lenses of other people.
Let
People
me
don't operate. You just come out. You just come out just like an open book. That's not me.
Jody. Let me finish. Let me finish. It's not. It shouldn't be earned. That's in any relationship. You're going to have to be vulnerable. Anybody will tell you. Any woman that's in a committed, successful, sustainable, healthy relationship will tell you she had to be vulnerable to
She
get to that
wasn't
point.
vulnerable from the beginning, Jay. I'm a
Beginning,
woman. No, you're not vulnerable from the very beginning. The person that you're going into this relationship with, it's like trust. They got to earn that trust. So you have to earn
what
that.
trust,
A
Jody?
woman.
Trust for what?
Listen,
Trust
I
for
am a
what?
woman. I am a woman. A woman is not innately vulnerable. She's not going to have her walls down, not unless she's just wired that way. No,
Jody,
if she's
Jody, relax.
Jay,
Hold on, time
listen,
out.
you're
Time
not
out.
Jay. You're not in the body and the thought process of a woman. You're not. The bottom line is you need to go back to them women that you spoke to and you asked them at the very beginning, were you vulnerable? No, they were not. That is
Jody,
something earned.
Jody, Jody,
I'm listening.
when you were dating, in your 20s, was your vulnerability earned?
Yeah.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
Them men, you were talking to boys. How did they earn
It
your
doesn't matter.
vulnerability?
Doesn't matter. I've always had in order
Jody,
in order
Jody, they did not
listen
earn
and
it. They
listen,
did
listen,
not
listen,
earn it.
listen.
They did
Listen,
not earn it.
in order for you to be vulnerable, you have to have some sense of trust of the person that you're being vulnerable with.
Right, that's
Did,
true.
did I automatically trust people? Do I automatically trust people off the gate? No, I don't.
Jody, I think
Whether
you're
I was a
associating.
teenager,
Hold
whether
up.
I was in my 20s, whether I was in my 30s, whether I'm now in my 40s. No, I don't.
Jody, I think you're associating vulnerability with uh transparency about each. Take that. You should be smiling. We're having a conversation,
I know. I'm listening.
and your face is
I'm
stuck in
listening.
a smug, state. Listen, when people are dating, it requires both people to have a certain level of vulnerability. Period. No one's saying you have to go deep and dark if you were abused as a child and share that information, but there needs, when it comes to certain experiences that have significant influence on your reactions to somebody you're dating, that's when it requires you to be, vulnerable. Just say,
Semi-vulnerable.
but to say, listen, I'm very passionate about this, and this is why. No one's saying you have to go like tell your most intimate details, but when it could cause somebody to look at you a different way because it's not how most people would react to that situation, then yes, it should require it would, then yes, that person should share. Listen, I know that it may seem like I'm overreacting. Because guess what? When I was with you and you had your insecurity issues, I was like, yo, listen, I get it. I get women have, and I gave you these examples. I was like, my ex-wife was totally insecure. I get it. So I'm trying to understand you. What do you want? And I said, yo, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to give you the access, the password to my, cameras in my house, like to show you I ain't doing nothing? Remember that conversation? We had that conversation, right? Like, most people, if they're really interested, are going to want to find a solution that, it's like, yo, listen, I'm trying to understand you, but you got to be transparent. And I knew your situation, some of them, but like not all of them, but you weren't even willing to have the conversation. Like, as soon as I offered that, like, that was extreme. When I offered that example, it was extreme. It was like all the way to the right. And so, when I offered that, you were like, okay, that's an extreme. It makes me look crazy.
Why do you feel that was extreme? I mean, a lot of people have access to your house. I didn't feel special.
It was extreme because you would have access to my house 24/7. That's why. And I believe that when I said it, I'm like, yo, if it's that serious, if you that crazy, that's the way you took it. If you that crazy or insecure, then I'll give you the codes to my house so you can see what I'm doing. Like, you ain't gonna see me doing nothing but working and taking a shower. Like, that's it, you know. And I think you were like, okay, that makes me look crazy, so no, I don't want to do it.
True.
Right.
True.
Right. Exactly. But
Yeah.
that's the position you put me in. Like, you know, when you're like, I'm like, well, look, do you want the damn code? Like, yo, I ain't, whatever's gonna shut you up, whatever's gonna make you happy to where you don't have to come at me like this, whatever it is. And so I gave you an extreme example, right? And then you were like, yeah, that makes this shit makes me look crazy. So no, I don't want that. Right. But that's what I was willing to do. I'm like, yo, like if that's what you need to make you feel comfortable where you just check in, you just log in and whatever, I didn't care because I wasn't doing shit. Right. So if you would have just, because that's not what you wanted. Like you wanted to hear something. I don't know what you wanted to hear. I still don't to this day don't know what you wanted to hear. I know it wasn't you want the damn codes to my, in my security system. I can give it to you. And that wasn't what you wanted to hear. You wanted to hear something else. Like, I think that's like whatever you wanted to hear, like that's what women, how women are. They want to hear, like, what did you want to hear? What did you want to hear?
Um,
Probably don't even know what you wanted to hear.
yeah, I do. I do. I think it's I mean, offering me, your password and all that other stuff to your house, or having, gaining access to your house. I thought about it, like I said, but I was like,
I mean,
no.
you
Even
already had the
even though
code
you gave
to
me the
my
pass,
house.
right? Even though you gave me the code, um,
Because she could just for clarity, the code, my door is, I mean, there's a key, but you just type in the password, boom, boom, you get it. You can get it, whatever. So she could have come over whenever, anytime, typed in the code. Hey, babe, I'm here. What you doing? Could have done any of that. Never chose to do it,
yeah. But the thing about it is that
but chose to accuse me.
no.
But
But
go
this is
ahead.
had I actually taken advantage of that, then that would have been ammunition. See, I think I'm a forward thinker. That would have given him ammo. And so his ammunition would have been, uh, even though he gave it to me, even though he expressed that he was comfortable giving it to me, he would have looked at me differently. And he even said it. You did say it.
I did never said that,
Yeah,
Jody.
you
I
did.
never
Yes, you
said that.
did. Yes, you did.
Jody,
Yes,
I
you
never
did.
said that.
Yes,
Jody,
you did. Yes,
the
you
only
did.
time
Yes.
Jody,
Mhm.
listen. I said that here. I just said that like 5 minutes ago. I said, remember I offered to give you that, I said, yo, I never treated you any differently. I would have never treated you any differently. Would I have thought differently? Yes. But I would have never treated you any differently. I never treated you any differently, Jody. And
So
would have
you wouldn't
never
have thought
treated you
differently.
any differently.
You wouldn't have thought differently had I taken advantage of
I
that.
would, Jody, thought differently and treated you differently are two different things.
Well,
I
your
said I
thoughts
would have,
your thoughts can
but
manifest.
no. I
It
told
can
you I would have
manifest.
never treated you differently. I would have thought differently. Like, yo, this chick, man, she's man. Because remember, I
Okay, so
mean,
but if you're
about
thinking,
2 months. But hold on. About I don't know. I think it was about 3-4 months ago, maybe 5. I was playing golf with a guy, and remember his wife was insecure, and I was telling you like, dude was taking pictures on the golf course to prove he was on the golf course. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. Like to prove he's on the golf course. That's crazy. You know. So would I have thought differently? Yes. But would I would have
yeah,
treated you differently?
but
No, because
Jay,
he didn't
but
treat his
Jay,
girl. He didn't treat his girl different. He thought differently, but he didn't treat her differently.
I,
Because if
I
he
get, I,
treated her differently, he wouldn't be there.
I get what you're saying, but the point of that, okay, so we don't. Okay, so you're using that golf experience. You're using that as an example, but we really don't know how he treats her, but because you don't know him, we really don't know how he treats her, right? We
I mean,
really
there's
don't
no
know
way
how
to.
he
Yeah,
treats
I mean,
her.
there's no way to know. I
Okay.
mean, but I'm just saying, I know me, and I'm like, I wouldn't have treated you differently. I would have thought differently, been like, yo, she's really insecure, But I just do what I do to try to make her feel secure. But if somebody asked me, but I wouldn't have
Jay,
treated you any
Jay,
differently.
Jay,
Yeah,
your way you think, the Bible says the way a man thinks, so is
I'm
he.
not religious, so I
It
mean,
don't
I don't.
matter.
I
But
mean,
that's just no. That's just you don't have to be religious. As a man thinketh, so is he. So eventually, you would have started treating me differently. You may not at the beginning, but you would have started treating me differently.
because no, Jody. Of course, I wouldn't have treated you differently in the beginning. But if, just like you said, like with like like if somebody shows you who they are, then you should believe them. So if
Mm-hmm.
I showed you for a period of time, and yes, you still didn't believe me, then yes, I would have treated you differently because I'm like, yo, how long do I have to be on probation? Like even the government tells you how long you gonna be on probation, right? Like you only probation for this period of time. Like so after a certain time, I'd be like, yo, am I off of probation or what? Like that's just natural. Like I got to be getting off probation at some point. So I mean, yeah, that's a natural reaction. Like if somebody doesn't let you off probation, then yes, you gonna look at them like they crazy because it's like, yo, how long I gotta be on probation? 2, 3 years, 5, 6, 10? Like how long I gotta be on probation?
Okay.
Yeah.
The point of the matter is that I didn't take advantage of it for the
You did
most
not.
part.
You did not. You
I did.
tried after the fact. After the fact, like when I offered you were like no, and then I think maybe a couple weeks down the road we got into another issue, and you were like, you know what, I want your. I'm like, no, I'm not giving you access to my, because now it's out of spite, and now it's where we were looking, it looking like we weren't going to be, what I'm saying, together much longer. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, I'm not giving you the password, you know, like.
Well,
So
I had
yeah,
the password. You hadn't changed it. It
I
was the
didn't,
fact.
because
It was the fact you
I'm
weren't
a
giving me
creature of habit.
access. You weren't
I'm
giving me access.
right.
You weren't.
I'm not. Yeah,
You were
exactly. I wasn't
right.
gonna give you access.
You weren't allowing me to pop up whenever. That's what it was. Which I
No,
really
no, no, no,
I
no.
think I only
You
did it one
still,
time.
Jody, you
I
still
only did
had
it one time.
access. You still had the code to my house, and you
Mm-hmm.
can pop up whenever. And you were working remotely, and you could have been working at my house. Like you could have just said, "Jay, I'm gonna work
He
from
never
your house."
offered. He never offered, or else I would have. But he never offered. So if a
Like
person doesn't
why,
offer,
Jody? Really? I never
if a person
offered.
doesn't, I'm
Really?
not going to sit up there and ask you to no. It's your house. If you want me to be there, if you want to be in my presence, or if you want me to be in your presence, if you didn't mind me coming over, then you would have been like, hey, Jody,
That's why I
why
gave
don't you,
her my.
hey,
That's
Jody, why
why,
don't you just come,
mind you,
hey, Jody, why don't you just
that's
come
why I
over
gave her
here?
the code. That's
No,
why I gave her the
he would have
code.
given
Jody,
me the,
you can ask any woman, when a man gives them access, if a man gives them 6 inches, they take a mile. That's what women do. That's
Jay,
what women do. That's what
Jay,
you can't
if
say
you,
that's not
Jay,
what you do.
no, Jay wanted time by himself, so
No,
that's what
I
I
didn't.
gave
No,
him. So
Jody could have come over there anytime.
the point
Jody
of the
could have
matter
come over
is
there anytime.
the
Jody, I
point of the
told you.
the
I
point of
told you
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 see
can
how
come
emotional
over
he's getting.
anytime. I
Listen,
told you
if
you
he
can
wanted
come
me to
over
come over there,
anytime.
I was working remote. But if he really wanted me to be over there, he would have been like, "Hey, why don't you just come over here and
No,
work
you know
remote?"
what?
But he
Like,
didn't.
no, the reason why Jody didn't want to come over, which is why she's not telling you guys, is because she's a germaphobe, and to her, my house was like contagious. It was like a germ factory. I got a dog. I don't wash my. I walk in with my shoes. I don't take my shoes off in the garage. I don't wash my hands as soon as I get in the house. So that's why she didn't want to come over. And one night she found a hair in on her pillow,
On his
allegedly,
pillow. On his pillow.
allegedly,
It
she
wasn't
found a
hair.
hair on
It
my
was.
pillow.
It
uh
wasn't. It wasn't mine.
it wasn't hers. uh and she's like, where'd this come from? I'm like, I don't know. Like it doesn't occur to the average woman that a man can be around women in general and their hair somehow, because women's hair comes out like every day. It
Yeah,
comes
but on the
out.
pillow in the
Women
bed.
women lose hair every day, right?
And the pillow
So
on. Come on, audience, don't fall for the banana in the
no, no,
tailpipe.
no, no,
And
no.
I can see
So
it being on
women
the
lose hair
floor.
every
I can
day.
see it being on the floor in the surrounding areas,
No,
kitchen,
Jody,
bathrooms.
Jody,
But on
Jody.
the pillow in the bed, ladies, come on now, come on.
Again, when you're around women, their hair comes out. Like it comes out. So let's just say it's on my shirt, like it's in the air, and hair comes down on my shirt, and I don't know it. So then when I wash the shirt, and I wash that same shirt, because I don't separate my bedspreads or my pillows from my shirts that I wash, that somehow that hair gets on the pillow from the shirt to the pillow. Just like when you hug a woman,
Jay,
and your
Jay,
makeup gets on your shirt or your suit,
Jay,
whatever, and you get it dry clean, same way.
Jay.
That's like it's
I'm gonna be
not
really honest.
possible. Like it's
I,
not like the realm of possibility. That's what I'm saying. Like
Jay,
you have to
most
think.
ladies, most ladies listening to this, they're not gonna fall for that. I
Yes,
can
they
tell you that
will.
right now.
What are you talking
No, they
about?
will not.
Yes,
No,
they
they will
will.
not.
Yes, they will.
Not,
Jody,
not, not,
most
not,
women, your
not,
mom knows.
not
We could have
sheets.
we could have we could have Diane on this call, and Diane works around people in her job, and she knows how easy it is for a hair to get from one head
We're not
to
talking
somebody
about on a
else's shirt.
shirt. We're not talking about on a shirt. We're talking about in an intimate space called a bed
Right.
and
How
a
do you think it
pillow.
got there? You
A
think
bed
you
and
think
a
every
pillow.
hair is on the bed? Like that's how it got there?
Bed and pillow.
Right, right. Like that's like that like that's the only way for a hair to get inside somebody's house.
Jay.
Like
So
how
we
many look at a pastor. Like a pastor doesn't
you're gonna
have
stand on
random
your
hairs in his house somewhere because he hugs every, you know, his
Jay,
congregation.
in the bed and on a pillow is an intimate space.
Well, what's your point? You
That is
asked
my
me, and she asked
that is
me,
my
like, and
point.
she asked me.
That
She said,
that is
"Jay,
my point.
how did this get there?"
He gave me the answers that most men would give.
And,
I don't
and she
know.
should have seen. And I wish I could give you. And my face is probably the same as it was when she asked me. Hell, if I know, fuck, we even talking about it for? I mean, excuse my language. I was like, the hell, we even talking about it for? Like, do you think if I knew it was there, then I would allow it to be there? Like,
Well, men. They clump. They don't. They
right,
sometimes they
right.
sometimes they have no perception. Really, they don't. They just they don't. That's
And
that's
that
why that's why
that
men that's why men get caught. You know what I mean? Because they don't. They do stuff. They're not strategic. You know what I'm saying? They're not strategic. That's
why
how
don't
that's
y'all
how they end up
ask
getting.
her? Why don't y'all ask her if she found a hair anywhere else?
Oh, all
Like,
his yeah. In
I would have
intimate
to
space.
be I would have to be like with a vacuum around a woman. Like I'm like, yo, and she never found a hair anywhere else in my house. Nowhere else. That was the only way. She found that hair, and oh my gosh, she wouldn't let it go. Wouldn't let it go.
No, that's not true. I found hair. The reason why I made an issue of it because it was in the bed. It was in the bed and on the pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen hair and I didn't say anything about it. I've seen hair all through his bathrooms. The guest bathroom, his bathroom, in the sink, on the floor. I've seen it. So I never said anything. You know why I didn't say anything? Because it was in the bathroom. Their bathrooms. But in your bed, that's different. That's different. That's way different. And ladies would tend to agree. Trust me. And
Yeah.
even some men who are probably going to be
Psycho,
listening to this,
psycho
they're
woman,
gonna they're gonna agree. They're gonna be like,
psycho.
bruh. They're gonna be like, bruh. The
It's a
bed.
pillowcase. It's a
We're not
pillowcase.
talking about
We ain't we
bathrooms.
ain't we ain't
We're
we
not
ain't
talking about
going through a
bathrooms.
pillowcase to look
Even though
for.
listen, Jay and I can go back and forth about this. I stand on my position,
She
and
can stand on
clearly,
it all she wants to.
and he probably
But
gonna stand on his. But the point of the matter, this is for
what
the
she's
audience.
not telling you
This is for the
guys
audience.
is this was during a time when I was coming over to her house 4 nights a week, at least 4 nights a week.
Okay, but that doesn't mean you don't have
So
leisure,
so
Jay.
she's not telling y'all like, and we're on the phone all fucking day, all freaking day, right?
Thank you.
We're on the phone all freaking day. She ain't telling y'all that, you know. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, do the math. In my mind, I'm like, do the math. Like, when am I gonna have a woman? Like, yes,
Easy.
is it possible?
You're
Is it
yes.
possible?
You work remote.
I admit, it's
Yes.
possible that I could have had a woman over there. Very
Yes.
possible.
Absolutely.
Very, very possible. But that's when you have to say, okay, is it worth throwing all my chips into this on this bet? And she threw all her chips on that bet, and she was wrong. That's what she won't tell you. She was
Well,
wrong.
he says I'm wrong because I didn't
Right,
have I didn't have any
right,
concrete evidence. The
right.
only evidence that I had was the hair in the
She.
bed and on the
This
pillow.
is one of the issues that caused our separation, our
That's
breakup.
well, that was one of them, but
This is one of them. This is one of them. Yeah,
that wasn't the only one.
exactly. I said it's
All
one
right.
of them.
Okay.
And all I'm saying is she put all her chips. She's like, because based on her prior experience, she put all her chips on the table and was like, I'm going all in on this. And I was like, yo, I'm not doing that. Like, and she was like, yes, and she was just waiting to hear me apologize and be and I was like, you know what? Do whatever you got to do, because I know I'm not doing that and whatever. And this is one of the situations that caused our separation, because she put all her chips in that one bag and she was wrong. Period. Or period, is like she likes to say. Period.
Okay.
Right.
So we didn't really come to. We're kind of at an impasse right now.
That's
So
not an impasse. I mean, basically, the people can see the importance of communication. Um, you know, what they can really gather. Like for me, I'm the person who has always tried to, because men, and this is unfortunate, but men have to be the person who's more understanding than the woman if the man ain't doing shit. Now, if he doing something, then of course he's not going to be understanding. He's going to be like, oh, you
on
wrong,
the
you wrong, blah, blah,
defense,
blah.
on the defense. Yep.
Right. But if he's like, she likes, like Jodie likes to say, if he values their relationship, he values that person, then he has to be the person to say, yo, um, I get it, I get where you're coming from, but it's not the case, and have to be there, like emotion, like, and I ain't gonna lie, like, emotion, like being somewhere, like being there emotionally for somebody who's insecure, trying to defend myself, that's not my strong point. Like, that is not my strong, like Jody knows the kind of man I am now. And um I know the kind of man I am. And it just reminds me of like my brother, right? My brother, I asked him one day, I said, hey, what kind of, how come you're not married, whatever. And he said, well, a lot of women have a lot of, preconceived notions, they have bad experiences, et cetera, et cetera. And he's like, I'm not going to pay for the sins of another, basically. Meaning, if 10 guys did you wrong, then you meet my brother, and then you try to treat him like the 10 guys that, like, you try to treat him worse than the 10 guys that you didn't treat that way before, like, as if he is the same type of guy. He's like, yo, I'm not dealing with that, right? And I'm sort of the same way too, because I know who I am. I know the kind of guy I am. And I was telling Jody that, like, Jody, I'm not that kind of guy. I, you know, I never really kind of told her that I'm not dealing with, certain things. Like, yo, like, either we're gonna move forward like in this type of way, or we're not. I never told her that. Like I tried to be, more understanding, but it got to a point where I was like, all right, it ain't working. I'm done. She, because I felt like there was no getting through to her. Look at her face. See that face right there? That's the exact face that she gave me the whole time. Like that matter of fact, that might have been the face that she gave me when I met her. And I mean, I was dropping all kind of flirtatious and funny, types of conversational, sentences, and she was just like, exactly. She know I'm telling the truth. I think I've had it worse than any man she's had to date, and that's just being honest. Because I'm paying for the sins of another, even though I'm not nowhere near like. And I mean, can you at least acknowledge that? Like, I'm nowhere near the men you've dated in your past. Yeah, I'm the one that's paying for the sins of everybody else. I paid the sins of everybody else.
I,
It's a yes or no question.
no. There's no yes or no answer. There's no. I can't. No.
It's a yes or no question.
No. I cannot. I cannot do that.
See, that's your problem. That's your
So
problem.
no,
That's your
no,
problem.
no, no. Yes, you in certain
I'm nowhere
situations.
near like the guys you dated in the
Yeah, but
past.
you're painting that with a broad brush.
Jody,
There's
I'm
thing
talking
there's
about the men who have caused you pain and you made me pay for it.
well, you caused me pain. You caused me pain when you shut down.
Jody, I didn't cause you pain.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
I
That caused
reacted
that caused
I
pain.
reacted to I reacted to your
Well,
actions and
not pain,
reactions
not
and
pain.
words
It hurt
based
my
on
feelings. It hurt my
how
feelings.
you were feeling because you felt like I was demonstrating the same type of actions as those from your past. Had nothing to do with me, but because who I am and my experiences, because they were similar to those who hurt you in the past, you put me in the same bucket as them and gave me you gave me worse of you than you gave to the men that actually did those
Oh,
things.
that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
I think there was definitely a level of respect that I had for you. That's not true, Jay. My mom would tell you. Those people that had caught, they took me out of character. You know, when I'm cussing you out and calling you all kind of MFs, I didn't do that with you. So that's not true. That's not true.
I mean, it's not because it's because I
No,
didn't
it was about
entertain
a
it.
level. It was about I still had a level of respect for you. So that's
I
not
don't
true.
think I would allow you to cuss me. I mean, I probably
I'm
would have
just
hung up
and
on you.
trust me, it's not that they allowed it. It's just that that's just what happened.
No, they
If
allowed that
I'm
to happen. They
so the
allowed
point
that
of
to
it,
happen.
Jay, you there was nothing that you would have been but walk away. That's it.
Hang up. I would have hung up on you. I mean,
No,
nobody's gonna
these
talk crazy
weren't
to me.
no this wasn't on the phone. This was in person.
Oh, then I would. Yeah, then I would have. Exactly. Exactly.
So that's my point.
Then it would have. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
the point of the matter is, did I treat those people? I treated them the way they treated me. I treated them terribly. You treat me terribly. I'm gonna treat you terribly. Yeah, and that was the only way that I knew how to do it was to call you out, call you every name but the Son of God.
Right.
So no, I didn't do that. I didn't. I think I came out of the bag with you one time, and what happened based on the based on the level of respect that I had for you, I called you back probably a week later and I apologized because that was the level of respect that I had for you. I never the other men that didn't treat me right. I never called them back. I never called them, followed up and said, "Hey, I'm sorry." Oh no, no, no. Your face is on pause.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah. I think I'm having some technical difficulties, but uh, But yeah, I get it though. Like, but all I'm saying is, again, this is for our, the learning of our viewers. Do
Right.
you see anything wrong? Now that I mean, because you know the kind of man I am now. Do you see anything wrong with how acted, how you reacted?
No. You know why?
Oh my God.
Listen, just listen to me.
Okay.
I
I'm
reacted.
gonna tell you right now that the people who are watching
Listen.
this are looking at you like you crazy.
No, they're not, because I'm about to explain. My reaction was based on your lack of understanding for me. Based on the fact that you were not willing to understand or take the time to understand, Jody. You could have given me codes and all that other crap.
Jody,
But to
Jody, Jody, you're Jody. I said
listen,
based
stop cutting me off. Stop doing
Jody,
that.
Jody, you're not
The fact
answering the question. I said
I
based
did
on
answer I'm saying no. I was only reacting based on what you
you're looking
based
in the
on I was
past,
reacting
Jody.
based on short of what you were not what you were not providing. You could give me the code and the access to your house all day long, but we really never sat down and had a conversation about Jody. What is the deal? What's going on with you? Why is it that you feel the way you feel? What is it? What is it? Is there something? There has to be something deep that went on with you. There was none of that, because what ended up happening is you ended up shutting down.
Jody, you're not answering the question.
I did. I did.
Calm
I
down.
answered the
See how
question.
your voice is elevated and
I
mine's not.
answered. No, I'm just
No,
passionate about it. I
no,
did answer the
Jody.
question.
No, you did
I'm
not.
not just. I'm just not
What
giving
was
you
the
the
question?
answer that you
What was the
want.
question? What was the question? What was the question then? Repeat the question.
You asked me if you asked me basically if I treated you. Um.
No, no.
Okay,
Go
Joe,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go
No.
ahead.
What I asked you is, I said, based on what you know now, that I'm not the kind of guy you thought I was at the
Oh, well, yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
See what I'm
I
saying?
would have treated you. Um, yeah, I would have treated. Yeah, I would have. I would have. Yeah. Now that I know who you are, yeah,
Right. That's what I'm
or what
saying.
type of man you are, yeah.
Right. I said that's what my question was. I said, now that you know the kind of guy I am now, I was
Mhm.
like, can you see the error in your ways? And because that's listen, the beauty of where we're at right now
Mhm.
is that we both agree that neither person has done anything to permanently um
Damage the
destroy the
relationship. Yeah.
bridge,
Right.
right?
Right. Mhm.
And so, like I've been having my reflections and my revelations, like, yo, okay, I see. Yeah, I definitely now I'm like, yeah, my reaction contributed this way, you know. And so when I asked you, I said, hey, is um do you think that, based on what you know now, that you basically overreacted to some of the things in the past? Because again, you got to think, there are people watching us that are going through the same thing we went through,
Right.
who are feeling the same way, like, oh, I ain't do nothing wrong, I ain't do nothing wrong, I ain't do nothing
Right.
wrong, right?
Mhm.
And now it's like, yo, you gotta have that come to Jesus moment when it's like, yo, I did do something wrong, I did make a mistake, I was wrong.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Mhm.
all
I
I'm
agree.
saying. Like,
Mhm.
you see where you were wrong in the situation, and throwing me in the same kind of category as those who you had dated in the past based on
Mhm.
those experiences.
Mhm. I agree. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
I
That's what I'm
agree.
saying.
Okay. So, what is this, Jay? Our second or third one-on-one?
What does it matter? Why are
Well,
you asking?
because we don't want to be too long-winded where we lose people's attention. I mean, we're already at 2.5 hours.
Right. I mean, again, I'm gonna edit this, to where there's just certain segments that I focus on.
Okay.
But um I guess you're right. This is a good segue. Uh that we could, kind of it's a nice little stopping point.
Mm-hmm.
Um now that you've seen the error in your ways.
I'm a grown woman, so I'm gonna let them have it since I make them feel better.
So I guess we can stop this video and give them something to look forward to on the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Well, everyone, ladies, gentlemen, thank you for sharing and um,
Get it out.
for being a part um, of our personal life. Not too personal, but personal enough.
Well, it's
And
not even really that. It's just, I mean, we're using our personal life, our personal experience as a catalyst to help
I
them
get that. I get it.
achieve the relationship status that they, because we want to sustain, promote, develop, sustain healthy Black relationships,
Right, right.
and we're using
Our platform. Mm-hmm.
our platform, our experiences as a catalyst
Mm-hmm.
to get people to see, like, hey, this is how easy it is um, to lose a good thing, because you
Mm-hmm.
lost a great thing.
And so did he. He knows it. So
Uh,
he can talk about how crazy he thought I was, but he'll tell you he did. He lost a good thing too.
See, it's not. See, you don't have to. You shouldn't be worried about what I think I lost.
That's what yeah, see, that's the thing. That's that ego. That's that ego. But he lost he knows he lost a good thing as well. So on that note.
All right, so we're gonna end it now. All right, later.